Alright, so I'm starting a new video series. This is going to be a 5-week series where I'm preparing for a ranch horse show with my horse Swagger. He's been out of work for probably a few weeks pretty much, other than just some lessons here and there. But I haven't really been riding him very consistently. So in this first episode, I'm just going to be getting him relaxed and settled back into training, so I'm not really going to do anything too crazy. But in the next few videos, I'm going to be working the flag and starting to work on a little more reining maneuvers. So hopefully you enjoy this. There's going to be at least 2 videos a week for the next 5 weeks, and I'm going to make a horse show video. So hopefully you enjoy. Alright, so today is just going to be kind of a get him back into the rhythm of training. He's had some time off, and the only time he's really been ridden was when I'm teaching lessons on him. And so today I'm basically just going to try and get him relaxed at the walk, trot, and lope, and then make sure he's soft laterally and then a little bit vertically. So I'm just starting here, ask him to bend his head laterally, and if he braces against it, then I can give little impulses with my left hand and then apply my left spur. Just ask him to widen out and soften his body. And then when I do it to the right side, same thing, just right hand and right spur. And I'm just partially disengaging his hindquarters, walking on a small circle. Ask him to get soft in his head, neck, and rib cage. I want him to be soft right when I pick up, and then I also want him to be soft while we're in it. I don't want to have to be holding him there. Like right here, I just have fingertip pressure. He started to take it, so I'll bring him back, and then I take away the pressure. He's just holding it there now. So we don't want his head to slingshot back as soon as we release. As you can see, we've gotten quite a bit of rain, so it's pretty sloppy. And now I'm just going to check in on my neck reining. So I'm going to act like I'm in a little round pen. And I'm just going to lay my rein on. If he doesn't step off, then I'll apply my outside leg and push him over. He's doing pretty good, at least to the left. There, he's paying attention to something else, so he didn't turn. There it is. So this is just making sure I got all my tools before I start raising the speed. But since that show's in 5 weeks, I'm not going to get in too big of a rush, especially since he's had time off. I'm going to try and get him chillaxed, and then once I know he's good, then I can start pushing things a little more. What you see is anytime he gets distracted or if he speeds up, then I'm just going to turn him at least 90 degrees to bring his attention back on me. And then like say he's speeding up and that's why I'm turning. The reason that it works to turn is because when a horse turns, they just have to slow down. See there, he's paying attention to the trailer that's opening over there. So let's turn him, and then his attention is generally back. You can see his right ear still a little bit over there. There he's looking at a cow now to the left, so I'm just going to bend him. Be like, hey, pay attention right here. But this horse likes to pay attention to everything going on, and so what's going to be key is me keeping his attention. So I don't like his hustle or his focus, so I'm going to spin him. Because he needs to put a little more effort into what we're doing. So while I want him to get relaxed, if I'm not doing anything and he starts paying attention to everything else, then I'm going to ask for something a little more challenging from him. So what I'm going to do is, since I know he might start paying attention to something else, is I'm going to just mix in some of those little spins. And I'm not asking him to be super correct or do it fast or anything. It's just getting him doing something else to where he's thinking about something other than everything else going on. That's pretty good. There you heard, I don't know if you heard actually, but he breathed out. And so that's good. That's him relaxing a little bit. He's not really as responsive to my neck rein in the trot as I'd like. So I'm going to have to start using a little more leg. That was better. I'm basically just riding around, wanting him to line out and not speed up or slow down, and I'm just pretty much warming them up. Right here we got some water puddles that I'm going to try and avoid. There he's looking at that cow again. So I'm just going to go right back into this spin. But where I've run into trouble with him before is when he's not paying attention, I'll get too fast or aggressive with corrections and stuff. And I don't need to do that. I just need to get his attention off whatever he's thinking about and then do that thing for a second and then get right back to it. I don't need to make it such a big deal. And I think he'll stay in a better state of mind, and so will I. See, alright, when I picked up, his ears came right back on me. That's good. Means he's paying a little more attention now. His turn sucks. There we go. And say you were like getting anxious and nervous or scared of something rather than just his attention going to something else, then I would bend him down and ask him to relax again. But since he's not getting scared or nervous or anything, I'm just interrupting his thought with something productive. adjust the camera a little bit just to make sure he stays in frame. So he's doing pretty good now. So now I think I'm going to go into a lope. It's going to be the same thing. If he speeds up in the lope, then I'm just going to turn him and ask him to slow down. I can't turn him real sharp because it's wet, but I'll just try and finesse it a little bit. So that was really bad. But instead of me just shoving him into it and it being nasty, I'm just going to bend him and then ask again. He's kind of getting lazy in his hind quarter yield too, or he's wanting to stay walking on a circle rather than just move his butt over. There we go. Get him flipped around here again. Oh, see that he wanted to jump into it. That's not the right answer either. There we go. That was better. Just ran through a puddle. So it's such a small area I can't really do the square I was hoping. Well, maybe I can. There's just so many puddles everywhere. You see when his head hops up, it's because he starts thinking about that water and he wants to jump. I think I'm going to go into a circle. So I think it'll be a little easier to avoid those. Yeah. So I'm not really too focused on his body position right now. Just because I haven't picked up on him at all. And so if I went to do it right now, I'd probably get a little anxious. So I'm just loose rein, loping around, getting him comfortable, settling into a consistent pace. He's doing pretty good. Now I can feel he's wanting to kind of rate back a little bit. That's good. That's the feeling we want. So I'd rather have to kind of pedal him to keep going rather than him controlling the pace and wanting to run off a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to sit. And I'm just going to soften him up. And so he gets real anticipatory about loping off immediately. That's my doing. There's just been different instances where I've overdone that a little bit. He's not. There it is. Sorry, I wanted him to push his hindquarters out a little more. But, so when I go to lope him off this other way again, I'm not just going to run light into him, make sure he's soft at the trot. And then I'll go into it. See, he's getting all high-headed and wanting to trot a little faster, and you can hear his sheath make a noise. So he's holding some tension. So I just turned him on that little circle. And once I ride him a few days in a row, this stuff won't be an issue, but since he's had no consistency recently, this is what you get. So I like this. Not too bad. His body does feel better positioned on the right lead. On the left lead, it kind of feels like his butt still wants to hang to the right. So it doesn't really feel right. But on the right lead, obviously, he does the same thing. His butt is more to the right, but that feels normal on the right lead. He just seems kind of weirdly bent on the left lead sometimes. That was a water puddle that he sped up in. And so if he were to start leaning in to the right, or if we're on the left lead, the left, I would just go on a straight line and do like a stop sign shape. So I'd go straight line turn. But since he's not really leaning, then I'm okay with just staying on this circle. He broke gate in that water puddle. So I'm not going to get on to him about that. That was kind of my fault for riding back into it again. But yeah, like what I was saying is if he's leaning, then I can do straight line turn, or I can just do squares to where it's turn, long straight line, turn, long straight line. And that'll help with him leaning in. But he's not doing that at all. He just feels like he's connected to the circle right now, which is great. And really, this is just the main thing, is I just wanted him to settle in at all the gates and me not mess with him too much. See, now he's low-headed, that's perfect. It's way more comfortable to ride when his head's down than when it's up. He gets all hollow-backed when his head's up. So when he gets his head back down, then I'll just sit, like how I didn't even pull on him and he wants to stop. And then I'm just going to bend him, soften him up, because you can see he's a little bracy coming out of that lope. So I'm just going to walk him around and pick him up, get some vertical flexion. and then release when he gets soft. I'll also do this at the trot. I'm probably going to lay off at the lope today. This is what I'm doing. If I pick up and he's not soft, then I'm just pedaling my legs. Just bumping them with both of them at the same time. Just bump, 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 and then he softens, and I release everything. And then if I were holding him into the contact, which is what I'll do in a few days, then I'll just bump, 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 and then when he softens, then I'll just stop bumping, but I'll hold the contact. Just paying attention to that trailer leaving. Just gonna bend him the other way. And it's obviously like it's not a safety issue when he's doing that right now because he's trained enough, but I want him to be thinking about me and not everything else. So he's still focusing on some other stuff, so I'm going to bend him laterally again. Still wants to think about that cow. Getting after him a little bit more in that right there. There, see, now his ears are back on me rather than forward. That's what I was looking for. And while if I'm doing more cow working type stuff, then I want his ears forward, but when I'm doing stuff prepping for the dry work, then I want him focused on me. Which I know with cow horse that's harder than with a reiner because they just are way more feely and lively, but still want them thinking about me a little more. There we go, that was good. Now I'm going to do it at a trot. Still wanting to look out, so I'm just going to tell him, look in. important to know whenever you start pulling on them, they are going to get a little more anxious. Like I can feel he's got a little more pep in his step when I'm doing this than when I'm just trotting around loose rein. Which is not bad to have more energy, but it just needs to be controlled. And he just, like you can tell, like my legs are, if I just squeezed on him a little bit, he'd want to go fast. So I need to keep doing this and keep putting my legs on him and keep telling him that it's just go slow, not fast. And that legs don't mean speed up, they mean to soften. And if he wants to keep speeding up, then I'll just go in a small circle, make it a little harder. There we went through a water puddle, so that wasn't ideal. I like that he's soft, he's just anxious. And I need some of his anxiousness to go away. This is just at a trot. When I start picking up on him at a lope, he'll be even more anxious. And like I said earlier, this is just a product of when you give them a lot of time off or you're inconsistent, then you're just basically going to have to restart every first day you come back. So like say, I ride him Monday, Tuesday, but then I don't ride him for 3 days, then on Saturday, I don't have to restart back where I was on Monday. Well, pretty much, just because 2 days in a row isn't enough to really make a difference when you give them time off again after that. You want to at least ride them 3 days in a row, and then I don't like giving them more than 2 days off regularly. Obviously, if you ride them real hard for 6 months, it's okay if you give them a little more time off, but on a normal training schedule, I'd rather ride them 6 days a week, 1 day off, and then when you come back on Monday, there's way less of a catch-up period, or not necessarily catch-up, but getting them back where they were. It's a lot easier. So he's feeling pretty good. Still, I can feel a little bit of anxiety in there. Still a little touchy, but not as touchy as what he started off being. But what's good about this horse is I know that just when I get him on this program and give him more consistency, he's more lazy, so it's going to be easy to get him relaxed again if I just do this every day. There's a little more brace. So I'm also giving little tugs with my fingers when he's heavy. And then when he lightens up, I'll just stop with the tugging. Like if I'm holding the contact, then I'll just stop with the impulses with my fingers. Then obviously if I'm releasing all the way, then it doesn't matter because I'm giving his head completely back to him. That was real soft. I don't know what that was. I'm gonna do a couple more to the right, and then make sure he's still good to the left, and then I'll be good with that. It is annoying though having inconsistent footing because it just makes everything you do with them a little more inconsistent, but you just gotta find a way to work around it. That's pretty good. Now I'll switch on to this left circle. Yes, that feels real good. So I'm going to go back to the walk. Now, I emphasize just leaving my legs on him at the walk. I need to do this every day, and then in the trot I need to leave my legs on him more. That way he's just a little less sensitive to my legs. There he did kind of a half blowout. Would have liked it if it was full blowout, but he did relax a little bit right there, which is good. But it also tells you he's a little bothered when I was picking him up. So basically what I'm going to end on is I'm going to get a little bit of a nicer turnaround, not with any speed, but just a little more cadence and ease than what it was the last time when I kind of got after him. And then I'm just going to do some backing up, and then I'll call that one good for today. So when I do this turnaround, I'm going to walk, when I'm actually working on the turnaround, I'm going to walk on a small circle with my left lane, or not left lane, my left rein sitting on his neck, and that's just telling him that we want to be on this circle. And then I'm putting pressure on with both my legs. And then when I want to go into that spin, I'm going to take my inside leg off, and then I'm just going to pick up a little bit more on that neck rein, and he'll go into the spin. Just like that. And so since I'm just looking for correctness, then I'm going to be okay with that, and then I'll come back to it and ask for a little bit more. But I just don't want to be in a hurry and be like, spin fast now, because that'll mess up his cadence. He'll trip over himself, and it's just a lot of pressure for no reason right off the get. Now he's kind of hunting that spin. Oh, there he tripped over himself. Partly because of the bad ground. But what I was going to say is he's starting to hunt that spin now. Like I can feel he wants to go into it rather than this circle. I'll ask for a little bit more. So I don't know if you noticed, but he kind of looked a little awkward. He raised his head up there for a second. I could feel he kind of slipped on his back feet on this mud. I don't know if you can see it. But I think otherwise that would have been a pretty good spin. So I'm just going to do one more to the right. There we go. And he can do faster than this, but based off how he's doing these, they're not super solid to where I want to speed up today. Especially with the mud, it can just get kind of nasty. A little more bend than that. There we go. Nice, he went right into that. So he a lot of times wants to spin on his right foot, but when it comes to cow work, it's kind of what we need when he's sucking back and changing directions to when he's turning on the cow. So I'm not really going to be too worried about that because I need him to suck back. So there he was a little lazy, so I just clucked and put some pressure on with my right leg. And what I do when I ask him to spin a little faster is I'll just pull slightly more. There, he's not paying attention. Bend his head around. But I'll ask him to speed up by, I'll just pull a little more with a little more neck rein, and then I'll cluck. And if that doesn't do it, then I'll just bump them with my outside leg until they get to the speed I want. And then I'll just hold the neck rein on there without kicking him. So I'll show you that right here. So there he sped up and I didn't have to kick him. That's what we want. I'll do one more. Nice. So that one felt real good. So I asked for a little more going to the left. It just felt real good. But I just need to know tomorrow I need to do a little bit more on the right. Kind of catch that up a little bit. There he blew out. Good sign. About 37 minutes into the ride, I like that. And then I warmed him up a little bit on the ground, so we're doing pretty good. So I'm just going to do some backing up. And I'll call her there. What I'm looking for in this backup is when, as soon as I put a feel on the reins, he starts moving his feet, but then he also tucks his nose and drops his head down just like that. And then I'd like him to lift his shoulders and kind of sit back on his hindquarters, which he's not doing that necessarily yet today. There, he's a little heavy. There we go. So if he's heavy on my hands, then I can, like if he's not backing up, then I can bump one of his shoulders with my foot to get him to pick up the seat, like that. There, we're getting into the water, but he wants to go forward without me asking him, so I'm gonna back him right through it. He does not like stuff on his feet, and like he gets real bothered by that. And like teeter-totters, he's not a fan of those. I just need a little more effort in this backup. That was a little better. So he's not backing straight. I'm not really worried about that today. I just need him to try a little harder. This is pretty pitiful. A little better. And then basically I'm just turning when I get to the end of my area. He's not giving me enough effort on this backup at all. There, I'm asking him to move his butt over and he wasn't doing it. Tried to get after him a little bit. That's closer. Good. So that was an improvement, so I'm going to stop him right there. Because if I don't stop on that one, I could get into a hole of him being like, well, I tried harder, and then you didn't reward me, so then he just shuts down. And so since it was a struggle just to get to that point, I'm going to stop on that one, and then tomorrow I'll ask for a little bit more. And I would bet that he will give it to me. So we're going to quit there, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. I know it's kind of long and maybe a little boring at times, but the upcoming video should be a little more interesting, especially when we're working the flag and stuff, so stay tuned.